Let's talk about the span panel. As you guys know, this is a smart panel with a computer behind it. Now, I've had this and I've used it on my home for over a year, but I've actually been living in this home full time for about a year and a month. And I want to tell you what I think about the span panel. Now, I want to address the biggest issues that people have with the span panel before even trying it. The number one I get, which is a little silly, is it's just another way for the government to control you. I get where you're coming from. We all got questions about our government right now. But do you guys not realize every time you get billed for your electricity, they know how much you've used. That's how they bill you. And for any of us that have missed our deadline for our bill payment, have had our power turned off. And they can do that remotely. They don't come out to your house and turn your electricity off. They can flip a switch on their computer. It shuts power off to your pole. You have no electricity until you pay your bill. They already have the ability to turn your grid off if they want to. They can throttle it if they want to. This does not give them any more control than they already have. So all of you guys out there that love to think that this is giving information that they don't already have, they can charge you for the wattage that you use. They can shut it off when you don't pay. That's what they're going to do no matter if you have this or you have a dumb panel. It just is what it is. The second thing that I get, which is an obstacle for people, is it's just another thing to go wrong. It's just another thing to break. You're not wrong. Every new piece of equipment is just another thing to break. You know, automatic windows in your vehicle, that was just another thing to break. Your cell phone's in your pocket, that was just another thing to break, right? All of these things, windshield wipers, literally everything in your life at some point was just another thing to break. It just comes down to, is this piece of technology worth its weight? Is it going to give you more benefit than it is headache? Now, the awesome thing about the span panel is that it is a smart panel. It has a computer behind its breakers. The awesome thing about computers is they can be updated, right? These computers can be configured to where if there is new information, if span becomes better, they can update your existing panel. You don't have to tear it out, right? So all of these things can be updated just like your cell phone, even though the iPhone seems to have more problems after the update than it does before. But with span, I can speak from experience. With span, the information that they have in their computer, the type of computers that are installed in this piece of equipment are very high end and are going to work for you for most likely your entire life and whoever comes after you. So you're not going to have to worry about that. The software can always be updated. So one thing that I'm not going to talk too deeply on, but if you have a code change for what type of service you need to your house, typically you would have to change out your electrical panel, right? But if you had that same code change where you need a different service to your house and you had a span panel, rather than spending thousands and thousands of dollars of having your panel replaced with a different panel, they can actually send you an update to your panel to where you don't actually have to have any invasive manipulations done. So that's one huge thing, especially with EV becoming more popular and being pushed more and more by the government and by code, especially on the coast, so East Coast, West Coast. You're going to have a lot of code updates to help with the influx of EV chargers and all that other stuff. So this gives you the ability to manipulate things and actually abide by code and expand and do more the same piece of equipment that you've always had. So those are some things that I'll talk about in another video later down the road, but that is an awesome feature of these things. Now, again, after a year and a month of using this, a couple things that I thought are just groundbreaking for me is the manipulation of breakers on my phone. Now, I've not really used it in a significant way, but there's been times when I've left an air compressor plugged in and at 2 in the morning, the air compressor kicks on and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go out there and turn it off. I can open my phone, flip over to the breaker of exterior outlets, flip off my exterior outlets, and the compressor turns off and I don't have to worry about it. Those are just minor things that I found beneficial, but if you're trying to find circuits in your home, you can flip them on and off from your phone. If you're trying to, whatever it is, you go out of town and you forget to turn off your heater, you can flip that breaker and turn that heater off so your heater's not running for a week and a half. You can see, hey, what's going on in your home. So it really does give you a tether to your home. It gives you an inside scoop of how your home's feeling. Again, if your refrigerator starts pulling more power than it usually pulls, you probably need to get a maintenance man out there to make sure that your refrigerator's functioning. You could save thousands of dollars by repairing your refrigerator before it goes out. That's a huge thing. Or your refrigerator's going out, you can buy a new refrigerator so you don't spoil all your food and be reactive. So this panel gives you the ability to be proactive proactive versus reactive in your home. Again, a lot of these are minor scenarios. They don't happen very often, but it's the same as a diagnostics tool from your car. Hey, your car says, hey, remind you, you need an oil change sooner. Hey, left rear tire pressure is getting low. These things are safety mechanisms that let you fix problems to be proactive before the problem becomes a big deal. This is what this does for your home. The most expensive purchase in your life is going to be your home. Why would you not want something that can be proactive for the most expensive purchase in your life? The ability to read my data. You guys know that I want to do solar. This whole intention of this specific build is to be off-grid. We have a well. I get water from the ground. I don't have gas, and everything in my home is ran off electricity. So 98% of what this home does is based off of this panel here. So I can get data readouts. I know how much energy I'm using in January. I know how much energy I'm using in August. And with that, I can utilize that to get my solar system. So I haven't set my solar system up yet, but I'm going to soon, and I'm going to use the data I've pulled from this panel to do so. I can open up my app and I can look at all the information that I've had over the last year. I can see how much I pulled in January, but not only can I look at how much energy I've pulled in January, I can look at what appliances and what circuits pulled the most power. So I know that, hey, my heating unit was pulling the majority of my power in January, right? In August, my AC unit was pulling the majority of my power. My oven, my outlets, my lights, whatever it is, I know exactly what's pulling what power. I actually found out that I was using more energy than I needed via the SPAN app because I found out that my heating and cooling system, when it's put on auto, pulls more power than if I just turn it on in the morning and let the house warm up, and then I turn it off, and then I turn it on in the evening and let the house warm up, and then I turn it off. I had left it on auto for a month or so to where it just ran, and that drew a ton more power than just turning it on in the morning and then turning it off. So just something like that is going to save me $50 a month just by knowing how to utilize my appliances properly, right? So again, it just gives you that information that maybe you don't think you need to know, or maybe you don't care about. For me, I find it really helpful and exciting to know how my usage is going. And this goes to being off grid. The way the world's going, things are getting more expensive. Money's more of an issue. This thing, even though it costs more money to install, has saved me tons of money. My electricity bill is so much lower than it used to be. We're looking at around I would say $150 a month versus what I was paying before, which was about $480. Now there's other variables in the way I built my house and all that stuff included in it, but also, I can look at my data and be like, hey, why is this pulling so much wattage? Why is this pulling so much? Why is this pulling so much? And then figure out how to remove that by just looking at my phone and scrolling through the SPAN app and seeing what information is coming from where, what power is pulling from what. Once I do get my solar system set up, I can still maintain my connection to the grid, but I can toggle back and forth. If I want to go solar, I can flip this thing over to solar and only pull solar power. If I'm running low on solar because, I had a month of foggy days and the sun didn't come out, I can flip right back over to the grid. As well as when I flip over to solar, it gives me the ability to remove certain things from the draw of that solar. So if I have a hot tub, I have a pool filtration system, I have a bunch of tool batteries being charged, I can set those as secondary breakers. I'm not sure what the term is. But when I switch over to solar, those breakers will be shut off so that I'm not using my solar energy to power my hot tub, my pool, my tool batteries, my whatever it is. I can put only the priority things onto my solar, especially if I see that I'm running low on solar and I've got a couple cloudy days ahead of me still. I can be really smart about how I use my solar. So if for no other reason that you get this panel except for just utilizing your solar more efficiently, that's huge. That's a huge thing for an off-grid system. It's a huge benefit to utilize your solar as efficiently as possible. The other, if you only get the SPAN panel for one thing, the other aspect of it is a diagnostics tool for your home. What breakers pulling what power? What appliances pulling what power? What outlets are pulling what power? What things that you're plugging in is pulling what power? You can utilize that and understand that. And we're just scratching the surface with this. There's a ton more that's coming out with the SPAN panel that they're going to use the SPAN panel for. Again, it has a computer behind it, meaning it can be updated. Your panel is new. It can remain new by the updates that can go into that computer. So again, guys, I absolutely love my SPAN panel. So far, the government hasn't come knocking at my door, shutting all my power off and regulating my power use. It hasn't broken. I actually haven't had any problems whatsoever with it, not even a minor problem. It has functioned to spec the entire time I've been using it. It's about a year and a month. Obviously, I'll keep you guys updated. I have more videos coming out as I get a little bit more information as to what Span's going to be doing here in the near future. So stay tuned for more Span videos. But again, guys, I would highly recommend it. Go to the link in my bio, thejondawson.com. Click on the Span logo. You guys can read my page on Span, and you can also do some digging on Span yourself. If you guys have any questions, put it in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. Much love.